Think about the last time you faced a tough decision. Did you continue pouring money into a stock that was clearly failing, a home renovation that spiraled out of control, or, perhaps most tragically, a toxic relationship that had passed its expiration date years ago? We are logical, rational people. We know the right thing to do is to simply cut our losses and walk away. But an invisible, powerful force binds us to the failure. It compels us to throw good money, good time, and good emotional energy after bad. This force has a scientific name, the sunk cost fallacy. Today, we are dissecting this devastating flaw in human decision-making. This is the money trap, a psychological error that forces you to choose regret over resolution, and it's the cruel secret to why you simply cannot quit when you're losing. Have you ever stayed in a terrible situation because you felt you had too much invested to leave? Share your deepest thoughts about the conflict between logic and emotional investment in the comments below. We are diving deep into the science that governs this self-sabotaging behavior. The sunk cost fallacy is not merely a mistake in accounting, it is a fundamental neurological error. The core confusion lies in the inability to separate sunk cost, the resources already spent and gone forever, from future cost, the resources you will inevitably lose if you continue. Logically, only the future cost matters. But psychologically, our brain is wired to panic over the past. This bias is fueled by loss aversion. The human brain experiences the pain of loss roughly twice as powerfully as the pleasure of gain. When you decide to quit a failing venture, your brain doesn't register the money you save in the future, it registers the money already lost as a fresh, immediate failure. By staying in the commitment, by continuing to invest, your brain creates the illusion of avoiding loss, postponing the pain of accepting that the initial investment was a mistake. Essentially, quitting is viewed as a double loss. Losing the money and admitting you were wrong. The sunk cost fallacy is the biological drive to avoid this double pain, and it is the root cause of countless bad decisions in finance, business, and love. If you are ready to understand the biological certainty of this cognitive error and learn how to override your instinct for regret, ensure you subscribe right now. Don't miss the next session where we dismantle another deep-seated psychological myth that limits your financial and emotional potential. The trap shows up first and most brutally in the world of finance and investing. The most dangerous behavior the fallacy promotes is the desperate desire to break even. You see it in the classic example, the investor who holds onto a stock that has been plummeting for months, refusing to sell because they paid a higher price originally. Every expert knows that past price is irrelevant, the only question is the stock's future potential. But the emotional brain screams, if I sell now, the loss is final. If I hold, there's still a chance to break even. This desperate clinging to the past causes catastrophic losses. The solution is to employ the new decision box principle. This technique forces you to neutralize the past investment. You simply ask yourself, if I were starting from scratch today, knowing everything I know now, would I invest a single new dollar, or minute, into this commitment? If the answer is no, the rational decision is immediate: cut the loss. This powerful mental tool isolates the present decision from the immense emotional weight of the past cost, helping you make cold, functional financial choices that align with your actual future self-interest. The most destructive application of the sunk cost fallacy occurs not with money, but with relationships. In matters of love, the sunk cost is the time and emotional effort you have invested. When contemplating leaving a partner, or finally ending a toxic friendship, the overwhelming fear is not of the future, but of admitting that the last 5 years, the compromises, the sacrifices, the tears, were wasted. The brain perceives walking away as throwing all of that irreplaceable past effort into the garbage. This perceived wasting of the past locks you into an emotionally bankrupt future. The solution is to employ emotional self-protection through temporal self-awareness. You must consciously train yourself to view the relationship solely through the lens of its current and future value. The past investment is a sunk cost. It is already gone. The critical question becomes, is the current reality of this relationship enhancing my emotional well-being? By consciously prioritizing your present emotional state and your future growth over the unchangeable burden of the past, you activate temporal self-awareness and grant yourself the permission to discard the emotional baggage that is tying you to a dead commitment. This is the first step toward reclaiming your emotional future. To grasp the magnitude of this cognitive error, we must look at historical evidence of billion-dollar mistakes. The sunk cost fallacy doesn't just plague individual investors, it infects governments and giant corporations. Think of the infamous Concorde Project, where the French and British governments poured billions into an airplane that was economically doomed from the start. They didn't continue because they thought the project would eventually profit. They continued because they could not afford the political and psychological cost of admitting that the immense sums already spent were wasted. Similarly, countless corporate mergers, software developments, and military contracts that are failing are continued indefinitely simply because the CEOs or political leaders refuse to swallow the initial, bitter pill of loss. This phenomenon is a profound emotional drain on society's resources, proving that even the most intelligent, highest-powered decision-makers on the planet fall victim to the exact same primal psychological defense mechanism as the average person. The feeling of avoiding regret is a universal weakness, and its cost is measured not in mere dollars, but in billions of wasted resources and lost opportunity. The true path to liberation from this trap is not about becoming a heartless automaton. It is about building the emotional strength to treat failure as data, not as an identity flaw. This is earned secure attachment to failure. To escape the trap, we must embrace the opportunity cost theory. The crucial question is not, how much have I already lost? But, what is the cost of not quitting? That opportunity cost is the time, emotional energy, and money that could be invested in a new, successful venture if the resources currently shackled to the failure were freed. For instance, staying in an unhealthy job because you've been there 10 years is not saving those 10 years, it is costing you the next 5 years of potential happiness and career growth. You must train yourself to see failure as the necessary price of admission to the next success. By consciously valuing the opportunity cost, the potential gains of the future, over the sunk cost, the losses of the past, you build a resilient form of earned secure attachment that accepts risk, embraces necessary failure, and ensures your emotional and financial security lies in forward movement, not backward clinging. Music intensifies with rhythmic beat. This leads us to the final, most decisive step, developing a self-concordant motivation to cut your losses. This requires a complete shift in mindset, applying the bankruptcy principle to your life choices. When starting any new project, investment, or even relationship, you must preemptively establish a stop-loss limit, a point of no return. You decide, before you begin, the maximum amount of time, money, or emotional energy you are willing to lose before the decision to quit becomes automatic. Once that limit is hit, the emotional debate is over. This act of self-concordant motivation is critical because it forces you to align your actions, quitting, with your core value, financial and emotional health, before the loss aversion mechanism can hijack your logic. When you pre-commit to quitting, you are making the hard decision from a place of cold rationality, rather than from a place of emotional desperation. This self-concordant practice is the only way to ensure you never fall into the trap in the first place, giving you the absolute freedom to walk away the moment the commitment no longer serves your future. We conclude with this final, crucial truth: the money trap is one of the most insidious cognitive errors in the human experience. The cruel secret is that the loss you fear by quitting has already happened, the investment is already gone. Your choice is not about retrieving the past, but about protecting the future. By embracing the new decision box principle and setting a firm stop-loss limit, you become the architect of your own destiny, immune to the tyranny of past regret. If you are ready to stop letting an old stock, an old project, or an old relationship drain your vital resources, ensure you subscribe right now to solidify your commitment to emotional and financial freedom. Perhaps you know someone who is pouring their life into a failing commitment. This message could be the logical permission they need to pause and finally quit. Share this video with them. And finally, leave a comment below. What commitment will you apply the new decision box principle to today? Share your experience and reclaim your future.